All right, let's talk about snakes. Now, I know they can be a little polarizing, but their story is absolutely fascinating. It's ancient, it's complex, and believe it or not, it's deeply connected to our own story in a way that might just blow your mind. So let's get into it.
First off, let's just wrap our heads around the sheer scale we're dealing with. We're not talking about a handful of creatures here. There are over 3,500 different species of snakes on Earth. They're everywhere, from lush rainforests and murky swamps to the absolute driest deserts you can imagine. Their ability to adapt is, well, just incredible.
But to really get snakes, you have to try and imagine the world from their perspective. And trust me, it's completely alien to us. Imagine navigating your entire life with no external ears to hear and no eyelids to even blink. They're sensing a hidden world that we're completely oblivious to.
And a huge part of that hidden world is their vision. It's like a superpower. You and I, we see a world painted in vibrant colors, right? Well, a lot of snakes, especially pit vipers, see a world painted in heat. They can literally see infrared radiation. So to them, a warm-blooded mouse running across the forest floor in the pitch black of night might as well be a glowing neon sign.
So if they don't really hear like we do, how do they know when something's coming? Well, they feel it. Snakes are absolute masters of sensing vibrations. They can rest their jaw on the ground, and the tiniest tremor from an animal walking nearby travels right up their jawbone and into their inner ear. They don't hear you coming, they feel you coming. And you have to remember, this unique way of life wasn't developed overnight. Snakes are ancient. They are true survivors. The earliest fossils we found are over 60 million years old. And these weren't all just little garter snakes either. We're talking about monsters like the titanoboa, a snake so massive it was the apex predator of its time. They have been on this planet for a very, very long time. Now, this deep ancient history leads us to a really mind-bending idea. What if snakes didn't just evolve on their own? What if, for millions of years, they were locked in an evolutionary dance with our own ancestors? A dance that profoundly shaped who we are today. Okay, stop and think about this for a second. Compared to most other mammals, our eyesight is ridiculously good. We see the world in brilliant, rich color and with amazing depth perception. But why? What was the evolutionary pressure that was so intense it drove us to develop such sophisticated visual gear? Well, one of the most compelling answers is something called the snake detection theory. And it's exactly what it sounds like. The idea is that our incredible vision is a direct result of needing to survive in a world full of highly camouflaged, deadly snakes. It was basically a high-stakes arms race that stretched for millions of years. As snakes got better and better at blending in, our early primate ancestors had to get better and better at spotting them. The ones who could see the subtle pattern of scales among the leaves or judge the distance to a coiled threat were the ones who survived to pass on their genes. This constant threat literally sculpted our brains and our eyes. And there's some really cool evidence for this. Just look at primates that evolved in Africa and Asia, where deadly snakes are everywhere. They have fantastic color vision. But now, look at lemurs in Madagascar. Madagascar broke away from the mainland before venomous snakes ever got there. And guess what? Without that constant threat, lemurs never evolved the same level of sharp color vision. The pressure just wasn't there. The reason this evolutionary pressure was so intense, the reason our ancestors had to get so good at spotting snakes, is because snakes developed the ultimate weapon, a biological payload that could end a confrontation instantly. I'm talking, of course, about venom. The whole system is just terrifyingly efficient. The bite itself is like a hyper-effective hypodermic needle. It injects this complex cocktail of toxins that's designed to do one thing: shut the body down fast. The venom immediately attacks the most critical systems, and the consequences can be catastrophic within minutes. And there is no one-size-fits-all venom. Different snakes are specialists. You have neurotoxins, like from a cobra, that attack the nervous system. They can shut down the signal from your brain to your diaphragm, which literally just stops you from breathing. Then you have other types that destroy your blood cells, cause massive internal bleeding, and even dissolve your tissues from the inside out. It's truly a brutal weapon. And this is not just some threat from our evolutionary past. This is a very real, modern-day global health crisis. According to the World Health Organization, every single year, as many as 5 million people are bitten by venomous snakes. And of those 5 million bites, the toll is just staggering. Over 100,000 people die.
And what's often overlooked is that hundreds of thousands more who survive are left with permanent, life-changing disabilities, amputations, organ damage, you name it. This ancient arms race is still claiming victims today.
But in this evolutionary fight, we humans developed our own countermove. It wasn't a biological change, but a brilliant scientific one: antivenom. The process of creating it is nothing short of ingenious. It starts with carefully milking the venom from a snake. Then, a tiny, harmless dose gets injected into a large animal, usually a horse. The horse's powerful immune system goes to work, creating these amazing antibodies to neutralize the venom. Scientists then just take a blood sample, separate out those antibodies, purify them, and that becomes the life-saving medicine. But here's the catch. As incredible as the science is, it's not a perfect fix. The whole process is incredibly expensive and very slow. So right off the bat, we just can't make enough to meet the global demand. And then there's the massive challenge of actually getting the antivenom to the remote, rural places where most of these snake bites happen.
So really, it all boils down to this. This incredible, ancient relationship with snakes might have given us the gift of our amazing eyesight, but it also created a deadly enemy. And while science gave us a way to fight back, this race is definitely not over.
And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. As the human population grows and we continue to push into the natural habitats where snakes live, our encounters with them are only going to increase. So after 60 million years of this deadly dance, you have to wonder, what's the next chapter going to look like?